Hello my beautiful butterflies, and welcome to today's bonus video. We are going to talk about the best oils for acne prone skin, and specifically the best oils to replace coconut oil. I recently did a video talking about the science of coconut oil. What is the actual composition, and is it safe or not for acne? But I didn't make any replacement oil recommendations. At the end of the video, you heard the verdict, whether it was good or not. And then I said that there were other alternatives. And today I want to discuss those, specifically some of my favorites and why they are so great. So the first thing that we should talk about is that oils are not a molecule. If you buy something like glycolic acid, it's a specific molecule, whereas oils are a compound. They are made up of different fatty acids and they all have different compositions. That's why you could buy a rose seed oil or a rose hip oil from one brand, and it could be very different from the next. It depends all on this composition, how it was put together, and even just the growing conditions in nature. Now, the first oil that I do absolutely love is rose hip oil. And this is specifically rose hip, not rose hip seed. This is a really great oil for anybody who has acne prone skin, and it's actually one of the lightest. So if you don't want something that weighs down your skin, this is really great. You can also tell it has a beautiful color. The more color, usually the more antioxidants. And this has helped a lot of people. It helps to increase skin barrier function. Your skin is the barrier that keeps your insides safe from the outside. And you need to make sure that that is, withheld within everyday life. There is something called trans-epidermal water loss that we've spoken about a little bit here on this channel. Trans meaning across, like transportation. Epidermal means the epidermis of the skin, and water loss is water loss. And so if you do have trans-epidermal water loss, it means that water is lost from your skin, or moisture is lost from your skin. This happens to people with acne, this happens to people with eczema. If you do have even a wound could cause it, or just overly dry skin. And a oil like this can help with increasing barrier function, therefore decreasing trans-epidermal water loss. This is specifically one from Trilogy. This one has been really good for me. It's from Australia and it's been really good for acne sufferers. Remember that not all rosehip oils are the same, so you really have to look at the fatty acid composition. And again, don't go for that rose hip seed oil. In my experience, it didn't really work for me. The great thing about this is that there is hardly any myristic acid. Myristic acid is that one that has been shown to cause breakouts. And this does have a beautiful fatty acid composition, specifically a lot of linoleic acid. Linoleic acid has been shown to be wonderful for acne-prone skin. And this stuff has a lot of it in there. I would recommend using a couple drops of this. You don't need a lot because it does absorb so nicely. It's really good to add a couple drops before you go to bed at night, maybe with a moisturizer. And specifically if you are acne prone and if you have pigmentation, if you get little red marks or if you get brown marks that kind of stay for a couple of months after the pimple goes away, this could be really, really good at healing those. And again, you can see from its color, it does have some antioxidants in there, which are also very, very nice. Moss. This is rosehip oil. It is a little bit more expensive, but this is probably one of my favorites. Now, the next is one that I have been loving forever, and it is jojoba oil. This is one that I am obsessed with. A lot of people like it as well. It's not perfect for everyone, however, because as we saw with the rosehip oil, that goes on really, really lightweight, whereas, rosehip oil goes on really, really lightweight. Jojoba oil goes on a little bit thicker. So it can become a little bit excessive on the skin if you use too much of it. But I have personally loved this for my acne-prone skin. It actually decreases the amount of oil that your skin naturally produces. We've done a video on oil in your skin, why it is essential, especially if you have acne, but not all oil is created equal. So jojoba oil has helped me regulate my skin's production because if I give it oil, it doesn't need to create its own, which is awesome. And jojoba oil also has a really nice fatty acid composition. Sorry if there's flashes. Whenever I record on my phone, that happens, and I don't know why. But as we've discussed, our skin is made up of many different things. Our sebum is made up of waxy esters, triglycerides, a little bit of cholesterol, squalene, and our sebum is not pure. Now, jojoba oil mimics the sebum in our skin, specifically squalene, and it helps to balance that out. So if our skin has too much of the cholesterol or too much of the parts of it that are causing breakouts, this can help to balance that out. And even though jojoba oil is an oil, it is technically an ester. It acts like an ester within the skin, which is why it can absorb really well and be super, super helpful. The other thing is that when you do look at the composition, it has oleic acid, which is what's known in olive oil. So if your skin is horrible with olive oil, maybe this isn't the best for you, but it's very high in that linoleic acid as well. So that's going to be super, super great. It does absorb nicely. It does have some vitamin E in there, which is really helpful for scars and scar healing. And for those who can handle a little bit of a heavier oil, I love to use this at night. It's one of my favorites, and I feel that it really has helped me over the years decrease the amount of oil that my skin produces naturally. This one is from Trader Joe's. It's like $6, maybe a little bit more. This stuff lasts and it is so great. I really like it. It is also antimicrobial and antibacterial and anti-inflammatory. And as we know, acne is caused by bacteria. If you have pimples, you know how painful they can be because of the inflammation that makes them stick up out of the skin. So this is a good go. Now, the last oil that I have is kind of a catch because you need 2 of them to use it, and it is tea tree oil. This stuff is hands down some of the best natural acne treatment that is out there. It is tea tree oil, and it's really made up of a lot of terpenes, but as you probably know, even if you've just smelled it, it is very, very potent. You should never use this full strength on your skin. So I always mix mine together. Sometimes I use jojoba, but sometimes I use maruja or maruca oil. This is actually derived from passion fruits. So first we're going to talk about tea tree because it is so great. This is from Trader Joe's. As you can see, I've destroyed the bottle because I use it so much. But you also want to look for tea tree that is from Australia. Tea tree, like all of these other oils, can have a different composition. And you want to make sure you're getting one that serves you. The great thing about tea tree oil is that it is antimicrobial, it is antibacterial, it is antifungal, so it could help with fungal acne. And if you are suffering from rosacea, if you dilute it, it could help if rosacea is caused by Demodex mites. Demodex mites are these bugs that have lived on our face throughout centuries, but for people who have rosacea, they seem to have more of these mites. And these mites live inside of your pores, and when you sleep at night, they come out, they have sexy time on your face, and then they run back in when the daylight comes because they're afraid of the light. But they can cause some flaking, some dryness, and some redness and rosacea. And tea tree oil might be able to help with that. Hello, birdies. They didn't like me talking about the kinky times with the mites. But that's a fun fact if you didn't know. And if you want a video on Demodex mites, let me know, we could probably do one. But tea tree oil is really great as long as you do dilute it. Now, again, we said that there's a lot of terpenes in this tea tree oil. What are terpenes versus regular oils? You know, what are these supposed to do? Terpenes are very volatile, which is why this has a smell, and they are unsaturated hydrocarbons, which is a bunch of fancy chemistry talk. Essentially, terpenes are made by plants and by animals to help protect them. The terpenes in tea tree oil are what keep the plant safe so that bugs don't eat it. And so they are pretty high in antioxidants, and they have some of these good properties that keep the bad stuff out. Tea tree oil can kill a lot of bacteria. It has been shown in MRSA and staph infections to help mitigate them. If you have a staph infection, you should see a doctor. You don't want to screw around with that. But the fact that some scientific studies have shown that it has that potential is really helpful to show it's proven to work. So it is super great, a great natural alternative. I think this is a couple bucks at Trader Joe's, maybe $4 or $5. It's great. Terpenes are also what keeps you high longer. There's a lot of terpenes in marijuana. So if you smoke weed, terpenes are what keeps you high longer. And that's actually really funny coming from someone who does not smoke the weed. I have never smoked weed or marijuana, but I love chemistry. So fun fact, the terpenes are what keeps you, woohoo. People actually think that I'm high all the time, but I've never been high in my life. Sorry. The only thing is that you don't want to use this full strength. You do want to mix it with something. And I really like to mix mine with jojoba oil or maruja oil. Now, what is this maruja or maruca oil? I've used this for a couple of years on and off. This one's from Tarte Cosmetics. It's a little bit more expensive. Similar to the rosehip oil, it's about $40. But this is actually from a passion fruit. Passion fruits are those little purple fruits that are grown in South America. I'm trying to remember where I didn't put oil yet. They're grown in South America, and so they're really great if you do have ethnic skin, and specifically for those who are prone to pigmentation, whether you are a little bit older and you are going through some hormonal changes like menopause or pregnancy, and you're starting to get some of those spots that are from acne, but also some pigmentation, this could be really, really helpful. It has been shown to help mitigate any of those pigmentation and some of that production. This also goes on really well to dry skin. So if you are dry, or if you're a combination and have dry patches, this is one of the best oils you can use. And this has I think it's like 70 to 75% linoleic or lauric acid, super high in that beneficial acne fatty oil composition. But it has hardly any myristic acid, hardly any oleic acid. So it's really, really safe for acne-prone skin, specifically that cystic acne, female hormonal acne, etc. Highly, highly recommended. It also is really great if you are prone to sun damage because it is derived from the passion fruit. It has a lot of those natural antioxidants that the fruit has in it as well. And as we know, antioxidants fight against free radicals. Free radicals are what our skin produces. It's what happens if we are in an environment where there is sun damage, etc. So this is a really great one for anti-aging as well. And if you do have acne-prone skin, it's probably safe for you. So again, the rosehip oil is the best if you do have little marks and post-inflammatory pigmentation and acne. You need something lightweight. If you have oily skin and you want something that's really going to help at night, this is one of my favorites, jojoba oil, because it mimics the sebum. And then tea tree oil is good for everybody as long as you dilute it, specifically if you have mites, Demodex mites on your face, or rosacea, or if you have inflammatory and bacteria acne. Everyone has acne bacteria, C. acnes, but if you specifically have an overgrowth and you need something to mitigate that. And then lastly, maruja oil, really good for dry skin, really good for that adult female cystic acne and people who do get a little bit of pigmentation from pregnancy or from other reasons. So if you want to see the video we did on coconut oil, these are the replacements I would recommend. Watch the coconut oil video because it talks about this in detail. And if you want to see a video on why you need to use oil and why oil is good for your skin, specifically if you have acne, there's a skin science video on it here because it's what keeps you waterproof. Hope that you enjoyed this bonus video. If you have comments or want other bonus videos, hit the notification bell so you don't miss them because sometimes I delete them. I love you, beautiful butterflies, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.